Okay, so this right here is the fuel pump to my 1990 Honda Accord. It's a CB7. Now, after troubleshooting the car, checking the ignition switch, all the relays and everything, I've deemed that this has to be the problem. This has to be the reason why my car is not getting any fuel and not running. And I'm further compounded into believing that that is the main culprit of the issue due to the fact that this car has been sitting for the better part of 10 years, and I'm pretty sure fuel pumps tend to go bad in that time period. So I've bought a fuel pump right here on Amazon. Not, to be honest, not the most quality looking fuel pump, but it is looking to be the similar size and everything. I'm going to swap this out and pop the new one in. I've never done this before, so it should be a fairly interesting experience. I'm going to set the tripod up, put the camera up, and go from there. So I guess step one will be to remove these two bolts, nuts, I think, and maybe see if I can just slide this out. Or the little carrier thing, that's got to be possible. Alright, what's holding this thing in? Also, a lot of this hardware should be replaced, like the fuel line and stuff. It doesn't seem to be included with this new one. I don't think the strainer is supposed to be reused too. So let's go from there. You can see a lot of pitting and stuff in the actual pump assembly itself. This will ever focus. Okay, so let's get this started. See, step one, I'm going to try and pull off these little bolts right here. In terms of orientating it, this little black outlet is going to be at the bottom on this side. So that means that this blue has to go to this connector right here. So you get the nut here. The new pump comes with both the nut and the washer, so I'm going to put that one. Take off this little hose clamp right here. Whatever was in here just disintegrated, so I'm really scared of breaking the glass on my table. So, negative is a black, positive is blue. Oh, this pump was actually made in Japan. It might have been an OEM one. Damn, I kind of feel bad about replacing it with a Chinese pump. But oh well, I already have it. If it breaks, I'll pull it out and I'll put a barrel in it. So I'm going to be cutting a piece of fuel line about this length and popping it on there. And I'm going to start wiring this thing back up. Kind of wish I had a new piece of this though, but it looks okay. What we have here is the new strainer. Truthfully, it doesn't look as substantial as the old one if you compare it. This one also has a much more depth to it, but I guess the lid came with the kit. This goes here, I believe, just like that. I mean, shit, that might as well be good enough. So that looks pretty well on there. And now for this little retaining clip. And looking at the old one, it looks like it just slides right in. Oh, I dropped it. Great, now I'm going to spend an hour and a half looking for it. Okay, that's on. Now this thing goes on here, just like so. Goes and there. Wow, this is substantially easier than I expected. Wow, okay. Now we cut the fuel line. I'm going to be using the same original clips. Okay, so the new fuel line is cut. I might have cut it too short, but we'll see. It's actually substantially thinner, this new fuel line, than the old one. This new one is also biofuel rated, so let's hope it's good. Okay, so there's the old top off. Okay, so there's that right there. Then to get this other hose clamp over here. Now to pull this bolt off and tighten this thing in. So the blue wire is the positive right here on the pump. It does say positive and negative. Yep, right there, there's the positive marker. I'm an idiot. I forgot to put the new gasket on. Great. With the pump off, but I forgot. So let me go get mine. Here's the old Denso one. And here is the new one. It is also a Denso part. Came in a Denso box from Japan. JDM AF. And we'll also be replacing the main line. So this is new. This is new. Okay, so there it is. New strainer, new pump. All the wires hook back up. Use the original clips. Clip there. New rubber gasket. I'm going to pull this off and cut it and put another fuel line the same length as this on here. So then the pump should be 100% ready to go. Hopefully. Hopefully is the key word to all of this. Next step is going to be to go outside when it's not 100 degrees out and put the tank back in. Maybe put a gallon of gas into it and see if it runs. First time in 10 years this car will be running. Okay, new fuel line is on. I'm still not too sure about the differences in the strainer dimensions, but it should do. Okay, so here's the gas tank to this car, and well, I was thinking about whether or not I should pressure wash it. I was kind of almost leaning towards not pressure washing it, but then I figured out why the fuel pump probably failed. If you look inside, it's all just sticky varnish. The whole tank is just sticky. Well, it's not that sticky. But I'm really thinking about just pressure washing the tank. But either way, I gotta get all those sediments out. I left the tank open for like almost 2 months, so I guess I should have seen that one coming. Now, before I go any further, I just want to mention a couple things. To be honest, I don't know if this is a good idea or a bad idea. I don't know if I'm about to ruin the gas tank. But I know for a fact I can't run the car with all that sediment in the tank. And I looked online, because everything on the internet is factually correct. I saw that putting some dish soap and water in there shouldn't cause an issue. So I'm going to pressure wash it on the inside and pressure wash the outside. Okay, so I got the tank pretty much up here. I did pressure wash the bottom of it, and I did end up losing quite a large amount of paint on certain sections right there. So I'm just going to put some truck bed liner on it. I'm not going to like prep it or anything. I just want to not have it rust through. And it's been drying in about 110 degree heat for the past 2 days. So all the water should be out of it. And overall, it's going pretty well. The inside's pretty clean. I'll give you some shots of that once I've gotten it up. But quick dusting of this, put the fuel pump on. So the current temperature is a little over, what, 100? So it should be a decent time to paint. This truck bed liner actually looks really good, wow. So most of the little paint imperfections are gone. It almost looks kind of new. Almost. Still a little raw down there. But this should be enough to stop the rust. Which, again, I'm I doubt will ever actually happen, like rusting in Vegas, but you know, just to be safe. And if anybody looks underneath the car, the tank will look nice. So the inside of the tank is actually much cleaner now. It's still got a little bit of residue, but the majority of it is out. There. For the most part, it's pretty much clean. So now just stick the pump in the actual gas tank. It's not too complicated. The main thing is to remember that these two little prongs up here need to line up with these two right here. So just slide it in, try to get it into the little yellow cup thing that's inside the tank. The most important part when doing this is to make sure that the gasket is actually in place the whole way around. So make sure that this gasket is at no point tucked underneath, and then just begin to bolt it down. Let me give you a better picture of it. Now when I pulled it off the first time, you probably remember that the gasket, or if you watched the other video, you probably remember that the gasket on here was kind of divoted in, so it wasn't correctly seated. So go around when you're doing this and double check to make sure the gasket is correctly seated the whole way around, just like that. So now it's time to start bolting everything back on here. I'm gonna get a new piece of fuel line, put it on here for the top one, and also for the bottom one. Once it's all set up and I'm pretty sure I got everything, I'm gonna get this over to the car and get it in there. So let's bolt this thing in. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and tighten this down in like a star-shaped pattern, almost like I'm tightening down a wheel, because it's a circle, and I'm pretty sure that applying correct amounts of pressure is kind of important to this thing. I do it by hand first, and then just go around, going from opposite side to opposite side. It's probably a good time for me to mention that I'm not a mechanic and you shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. This is just to show you how I'm doing it, and we'll see if how I'm doing it actually works. And yeah, I did only paint the bottom half of the tank. Okay, that should be enough for a solid seal. So it looks like I need to go get a smaller fuel line for these two, which kind of sucks because I was kind of hoping I was done going to the store to buy stuff. Maybe I can just stick the tank on there and get those lines later. Okay, here's a moment of truth. When I took the tank out, the car didn't have a tiny wing on it. Oh yeah, I don't think anyone saw the lettering on the YouTube channel yet. It says looking for a Hinata in a world full of Sakuras. I actually cut that out myself. I'm kind of proud of it. This car is going to get flamed at the next car meet. Look at how much smaller the wing is than the actual trunk itself. Honestly, for a $37 eBay wing, it did pretty well. If you guys are interested in this thing, I'll have a video link at the end of the video in the little end card. And honestly, it's holding up pretty solidly. I'm surprised. Like, look at that. No flex. It's all aluminum. Kind of cool. Okay, so here's a general idea of what's going to happen. So that right there is the tank. I'm going to place it onto the floor jack right here. Use that to roll it under the car. Position it, put in the straps, then plug in the electrical connectors, raise it up, and then hook up the little wiring loom that runs on the back of the tank in these clips right here. And once that's all done, I'm going to jack it up in place and put the two bolts in, and then figure out the fuel line situation over here. So I don't know if I'm just getting better at working on cars, or if like it's just not as hard as I thought it was, or whatever. I'm just having a lucky day. But the straps are on, and now the next step is going to be to put on those fuel lines right there. I haven't gotten any new fuel line for the ones that are kind of old and past it, so I'm just going to temporarily hook it up, see if I can get this car to start. And yeah, kind of like just those 3 lines right there, and then 2 lines on the back right over there. And once they're on, this thing should be running. So pumped. Pun was definitely intended. Hey Pepper, you want to say hi to the camera? Well, anyway, turns out this lug is broken off, so that seems like a really good reason to do a 5-leg conversion. So that right there has made my decision for me. 5 legs, here we come. Okay, so step 1 is to bolt these little doodads in. Okay, so just something I want to point out. So I learned a lesson yesterday. Kind of a dumb, easy, very simple to learn lesson that I should have been doing anyway. Wear this. I was under the car, plumbing in the last of the fuel line, right? And my self, in all my infinite wisdom, didn't have one of these on, and a piece of oil, dirt, whatever, got into this eye, and it hurt really bad. Like, really bad. So I went inside, basically just sat there till this morning, woke up, still hurts. Even now it still hurts, but it's getting better. I got lucky. If it was something major, I might have had to have it drilled out of my eye, and I don't want to go to the hospital with everything going on. So, again, wear one of these. I'm gonna wear one of these. But I'm so close to finishing up. Now I've gotten the main high pressure line, which is the one that has the wrench fitting on it, on. I got the 2 low pressure lines down there. All I need to do now is get the fuel filler neck in, and the one that goes to the evap canister. And then, who knows, maybe this thing will run today. Okay, just 2 more to go. 2 more, so close. This big one right here is the fuel filler neck, which has to go onto this rather large one here. I think that's in. Well, now for the evap canister. This one shouldn't be as bad. Alright, that's not bad though. Okay, I'm gonna call this fuel tank officially in. All the lines are hooked up, power is hooked up, gauges are hooked up. All I need to do is put the wheel on the other side, lower the car a little bit, put some gas in the tank, take the little fuel thing off the injector thing on the front to bleed a little fuel through, and let's see if it's run. That's it. It's automatic. No, the fuel pump should start priming when the key turns on. I'm not hearing it, so that means it's something else that's causing this issue. Probably power. Yeah. So then the question is, what's not giving power? It could be the anti-theft system. There's a car alarm in here that I pulled out. I might have to put it back in. It cranks real good though. I basically failed. I tried to get the car running last night. Even after replacing the pump and doing all that work, it didn't start. So I'm back to thinking it has to be a wiring issue. I checked the relays in the beginning, I checked all the fuses, and when all those were good, or I assumed they were good, I jumped to the conclusion that it was a fuel pump. Apparently it's not the fuel pump. I'm still happy I replaced it considering it was an old pump in a car that's been sitting 10 years. It's generally a good idea to replace stuff like that anyway. But it wasn't the case. So, I went on CB7 Accord Owners Facebook group and I proposed a question to the other members of the group as to what the issue could be, because I am fresh out of ideas. I'm going to read some of those right now, and I would like to thank every member of the Facebook group who helped me with these ideas. So basically, there's a bunch of people who gave me some pretty good advice as to what to do. I'd like to thank Israel Reyes. He helped out with some Spark stuff. Let's see. Jay White asked me if I confirmed the pump. I did, and he did give me some really good advice about how it could be just an issue with the wire itself. Like, just maybe there's a break in the wire. I'm going to be checking that. This is basically going to be a list of a bunch of stuff I'm going to be checking later. Let's see. So, Israel did mention that it could be a clogged fuel filter, which is something I did order. I found it on Amazon with just a few bucks. That's going to be under hood filter. So that's going to be a part of the next video where I go through everything, try to find the bad filter, or not, well, find the filter, replace it, and see if that's the issue. Let's see, Guyan said to check for leaks. I'm going to be running through that again to check for leaks, but I'm pretty sure I don't have any fuel pressure as it is, so that might not be the thing. Quite a few people did mention that it was the main relay that was the problem. I did put my hand on the main relay to confirm that it was clicking, but apparently that's not a very good way. Hey Pepper, that's not a very good way to make sure that it's actually solid and functioning. So I found the main relay online. It was super cheap. I'm going to be checking that out. Now, one of the guys on here did say to check the wiring for a kill switch, right? Because I did originally find a switch in this car, which I did remove. And I did solder the wires together. However, I'm not too sure if that was a kill switch or not. I know the last owner did a lot of weird wiring stuff to this car. I don't know what those wiring things actually were. If taking apart the head unit and gauge cluster were any indication to just how messed up the wiring on this car is, I'm pretty sure I have a lot of work to do. So, just to reiterate, next video is going to be replacing the fuel filter, checking the injectors, doing the seals, and going through everything to try and find out what exactly the issue is. Because it's not the pump. It's definitely some kind of electrical issue or flow issue that's stopping the pump from pumping. I am extremely frustrated at this point, but I'm going to figure it out. Anyway, if you like this video, hit like. If this video did help you replace the pump on your Honda Accord, you know, at least some good came out of it. But I'm going to make this into a track car. I'm going to figure this out. I'm not going to be defeated by a 30-year-old Honda Accord, which is actually 5 years older than me, and eligible for classic car plates. Anyway, have a good one, guys. Do whatever else you do on the internets.